Hello, my name is Colin Haney. Welcome to my slide-in truck camper build video series. Most of the time I do time-lapse videos with voiceover, but I'm at a point where I'm about to put the ceiling on, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to do in-person walkthrough and show the areas. Well, it's easy to see top down kind of the layout of the camper. Also, most of my viewers, this being a new channel, are first-time viewers and perhaps haven't been following. If that's you, the series starts with an introductory video where I present a CAD model of the design of the camper. I only took the model so far because until I could feel what it's like to stand in the space, I wasn't sure how I wanted to do some things. I've never RV'd before, and so this whole camper thing is kind of new to me. I'm learning as I go along and kind of feeling things out that way. A point I would like to make is that I usually work with a respirator, and well, mainly the respirator is the issue. I decluttered the space before I'm going to give you the tour, but I didn't sweep it all out because then I'll be choking on the dust and I won't be able to talk. So pardon me if my job site's a little bit dirty. But from here, I'll get out of the frame and just give you a walkthrough. So this is the bunk area of the camper. It's large enough to fit a queen-sized mattress, but I'm flying solo at the moment, and so this beam here is partly, I mean, it's there for support, but it's also so that I can put panels against the face of it and section off essentially two closets on either side of the center aisle there, so that up in the front there's room for a twin mattress, and then I'll have closet space on the two sides here. And this is kind of just the high level view. That's just a piece of plywood sitting there, but just so you can kind of see the layout. This section here is the bathroom. Across the aisle from the bathroom will be a closet, kind of mudroom tray for boots and whatnot. This will be the kitchen area, sink, gas stove. This will be, moving around, it's a combination of desk and table area, kitchen nook I usually call it. So I'll do this will be kind of an office away from home, and this will be both the office and where I eat and whatever. Down in the bottom there are bays. This first one is the battery bay, and the second two are just going to be regular storage. That section between the bathroom and the closet area is the black tank. Its volume is around 50 gallons, but by the time I put some of the other stuff in it, it won't be that big. This section here is there will be a slide out pantry in this upper and lower compartments. And then if I cross over here, there's one on the other side that mirrors it. And then down in the belly of it all, that's space for a 42-gallon water tank, fresh water tank. I'm not going to do a full gray water tank, just more of a culinary gray tank for flushing the toilet, reclaim the cleaner gray water for that. So back here, you get more of the overview, and there's going to be a hatch in the roof. That'll be my escape hatch if there's a need to get, if the back is blocked or need to get out for some other reason. That's going to be this center section right here between the two slide out pantries. And the top will also be covered with solar panels. And so the hatch will actually be this side of it, since it's not a symmetric aisle there. The rooms are bigger on the left than on the right. So 50%, or from the middle over, will be kind of a deck on top where I don't have solar panels and can be up there, clear off snow or anything else that might accumulate. And then on the other side, the solar panels will actually cover the hatch leading up into the roof area. So that's the general overview of the camper. Just for perspective, this is the bathroom area from down inside it. View up into the bunk area, arches over the ceiling. Again, the kitchen area, the desk, dining room, and the closet. And then just for perspective, I can zoom out far enough. That's the build so far. On the exterior, there's going to be 2-inch clad of insulation. You can see some of it right there. That's under the wing. It'll be going into the slots between there and the back wall. And on the back here, there's going to be a rack for a generator, diesel heater, other external type things. And obviously, as a truck camper, it has the overhang that fits into or over the cab, and a beveled nose for aerodynamics. So now I'll proceed with the regular build update time lapse for this week, but I just wanted to give you kind of an overview, because the next step is put that ceiling on, and I say ceiling because that 2 inches of foam will also go on the roof, and then the roof will go on, well, on the top of the ceiling once it's in place up there, and then the roof will go on top of that before the solar panels. So anyway, that's the update. On to the regular build update. So before I could put the ceiling on, I had to finish quite a bit of interior work, and some of the back wall arch wasn't in place yet. In last week's video, I showed the panel across the aisle from this one that I'm working on here, and showed how poorly the panel, which was constructed square, didn't fit against the wall and the floor there. So here I decided to put the 1x2 on in place, give it a better chance of fitting, since the 1x2 didn't have to align on the edge with the plywood perfectly. As it was, I went off and framed in the rest of the panel, put that 1x2 diagonal in there, and you can still see that it's wobbling all over. It's not a real tight fit. What's more is the 1x2 in the wall that I'm trying to anchor to there on the left wasn't in the right place, so I'm going at a real angle trying to hit it on the other side without the screw poking into the bed chamber area. In the end, got it all installed there, and then trimmed it off to match the arch. I don't know why I opened the garage door here so that I could then try to crouch between it and the arches I'm working on. Maybe it was I didn't have my shop lights then. I did finally get some, and that made working with the door closed a lot easier. But anyway, here I'm installing the panel across the aisle. You can see I got glue on the wall panel there. Kind of tricky getting it into place with it sliding around because it's not a good fit floor and wall at the same time. But anyway, I anchored it in from the exterior. Those two panels are right where the front jack stands connect, and most of the support or weight will be handled down below, but I wanted these to add whatever strength or structure all the way up to the roof that I can get. So they'll be full sandwich panels too by the time I'm done. But like everything else, I'm leaving them open until I know what kind of support I need to put in the wall for it. And again, making it match the arch of the 2x4. Here in my 1x2 fried noodle collection, I found one that was only arched in one plane and thought it might make a good one piece beam across the top there, but ultimately I would have had to cut out some of the existing panels to make it match, and so in the end I didn't use it that way, but I fantasized about it for a little bit before deciding it was more trouble than it was worth. And this whole back end was just a real pain to get fit in there. I did end up using pieces of the arch, and that made it so I didn't have to trim the 1x2 quite as much to get it to fit the ceiling's arch. But anyway, it was kind of a headache getting this all done back here. But in the end, we made it happen. Just testing the arch there across the doorway. Trying some more panels, getting ready to cover the ceiling. Now here I'm using a 2x4 arch that I cut earlier and then realized it was just too warped to give me a good beam across the camper, but there was half of it that I felt was good enough, and I needed a place to splice two of the panels. You can see there's a split between the right and the left sides of that beam there because of the offset between the kitchen and bathroom walls across the aisle. But even though I didn't really need it there structurally, I wanted it there for the splice, and so I put it in and anchored the one on the other side as well. It had been just clamped there for quite a while as I was trying to decide for sure what I wanted to do with it, but I'm not sure what to do with that jog, but I will probably 3D print some kind of enclosure and stick some electronics in it and make it look like a feature of some kind. I don't know. That's what I'll tell people, but you'll be in the know on that one. So here I'm making final trimmings and preparation to put the ceiling panels on. And here I'm starting the marking. This is in the bed or loft area. The thing here is I need to put glue along the two walls on the sides and then across two beams and then half of the nearest beam there. And I didn't want to be trying to lower the whole thing in place without anything guiding it, and so I'm putting that clamp on that 2x4 in the back to keep it from sliding down the front of the camper so that I can prop up this side of it to hold it in place. Now I'm marking out where the staples will go on that center beam. Once I've got the glue in place, got it down. So that's how I decided to do. I positioned the right edge corner, far corner there, and then started putting the construction adhesive. I think the gaps are fairly minimal, but definitely wouldn't want to use wood glue on this. Half along that edge there. Went down pretty well. Liberal number of staples, just because the veneer on that plywood is only so good, and I'm still concerned about it pulling away. Of course, the staples puncture so deep, I'm not sure how much they hold either. So lots of each, and hopefully by the time we get it all together and bundled in a layer of fiberglass, it'll hold its shape. Keep me dry for a time. Now I'm inside cleaning up any of the construction adhesive that squished out. I try to keep on top of that. There were a few places I missed it, but I'd much rather deal with it while it's goo, as messy as that is, better than trying to grind it away in some awkward angle or nook or cranny where you can't hardly get to it without gouging a bunch of your plywood away. So here I think I mentioned earlier, there's a jog in the plywood there. And so I measured and carefully I'm cutting the panel out. The first one I was just going to trim the edge off, but with the jog I can't really glue it along that edge, and so I decided to just cut this whole thing in advance. And I carefully measured right there so that I would have the jog in the right place, and that cut is actually in the wrong place. With the panel flipped upside down, because I had to draw the lines from underneath and then turned around, I got turned around, and somehow I'm just so consistent with it. So now I flip it and then reverse it and marvel at how I could do it wrong so consistently. I'm just that good. So anyway, prepping the surface so that I can glue it down, and to give me a reference, something to push against, you'll see there's 1x2s on the near edge and on that right edge of the panel. So that'll give me something to drop it into place against, so that I'm not slipping around and getting glue all over the panel before I finally get it into position. And that was the solution I came up with. And then I put glue across the whole top of that beam there, forgetting that nope, I'm splicing across it, so I only need glue on half of it. So the two clamped references, those worked pretty well to help me get it in place. I didn't have to do too much careful repositioning once it was there. Work lamps are proving to be invaluable. I do like the battery versions if anybody's considering getting work lights like that. I used to have a corded work light, but I haven't used it in years and I can't find it, so I don't know if it made the last 2 or 3 moves or not. But cleaning things up once again on the inside. Rather deal with it when it's goo instead of hard. You can see kind of the notch I cut out there in that jog. You can see me through it. So that's as far as I made it this week. Thanks for watching, and next week I'll get the rest of it on there and hopefully start on the back rack for the generator and the heater.